Hi, it's that fantasy chick. We're back. It's another Wednesday, and we're going to be going over Ahsoka. But before we go over that, we're going to talk about Star Wars characters that went from animation and went into live action. Now, there's an article, of course. I won't be reading, it's a very long article, so I won't be reading the entire article, but we'll just go through it and just see the characters and the shows that they were on. Mm, Okay. 17 Star Wars characters who have leapt from animation to live action. All right. So, when George Lucas launched the animated series Star Wars: The Clone Wars in 2008, alongside Dave Filoni, it seemed possible there might never be any more live action Star Wars movies, let alone any TV shows. Now, though, we have a steady stream of live action stories coming from a galaxy far, far away. Because every medium Star Wars stories are told in these days can be interconnected, and nearly all of those stories are in the same continuity and considered official canon, it would make sense that characters would start to make the jump from animation to live action, and that has been happening increasingly frequently recently, underlined by the debut of the new Disney Plus series, Ahsoka. Not only is the title character in Ahsoka one we first met in animation, but the same goes for many supporting characters with the opportunity for even more as the show continues. Read on for the list of the most notable characters who have made the animation to live action transition in Star Wars so far, as we ponder who might be the next one to join them. Okay, they have Boba Fett. Boba Fett is seen in the Star Wars Holiday Special and in The Empire Strikes Back, and he's just an honorable mention. Um, so he was in live action before he was in. They say Boba Fett was designed for The Empire Strikes Back before he was ever considered for animation, but he is technically the first character to first appear in animation before we saw them in live action in the Star Wars universe. Okay. Saw Gerrera as seen in Star Wars: The Clone Wars and in Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Then you have Chopper as seen in Star Wars Rebels and in Ahsoka. Okay, next is Bo-Katan Kryze. I did not realize that she was an animated character. But Bo-Katan Kryze is seen in Star Wars: The Clone Wars and in The Mandalorian. Ahsoka Tano. Now, this is one I knew. Ahsoka Tano as seen in Star Wars: The Clone Wars and in Ahsoka. And apparently she was also in Rebels. Cad Bane. I had a feeling when I saw him on because it says Cad Bane as seen in Star Wars: The Clone Wars and in the Book of Boba Fett. When I saw him on the Book of Boba Fett, I had a feeling that he was a character that had been seen before because the way they built him up, I was like, he's not a new character. He's somebody that has been seen before. They made a big deal out of him, and they dragged it out to the point where I was like, okay, This is somebody you've seen before. I hadn't seen him before, but this is somebody that has been seen before. You could definitely tell the way they portrayed him in the Book of Boba Fett. The Grand Inquisitor. The Grand Inquisitor as seen in Star Wars Rebels. Ah, what just happened? It's still showing. Okay, here we go. It's in Star Wars Rebels and in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Lord. Okay, the fifth brother. Let's be careful. The fifth brother as seen in Star Wars Rebels and in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Zeb Aurelios, as Zeb is seen in Star Wars Rebels and in The Mandalorian. Sabine Wren. Sabine Wren as seen in Star Wars Rebels and in Ahsoka. Ezra Bridger. Ezra Bridger as seen in Star Wars Rebels and in Ahsoka. Hera Syndulla. Hera Syndulla in Star Wars Rebels and in Ahsoka. Huyang. Huyang in Star Wars, The Clone Wars, and in Ahsoka. Grand Admiral Thrawn. Grand Admiral Thrawn in Star Wars Rebels and in Ahsoka. Ryder Azadi. Ryder Azadi is seen in Star Wars Rebels and in Ahsoka. Jai Kell. Jai Kell as seen in Star Wars Rebels and in Ahsoka. And that person, the person playing him, is this comedian. What's his name? Comedian Vinnie Thomas. I first saw him on Twitter playing these little skits that was hilarious. I follow him on Twitter. He's hilarious. So when I saw him on Ahsoka, I was like, is that the dude I follow on Twitter? I had to look it up. And sure enough, it was him. I was like, well, all right, you go and get yourself that Star Wars bag. Hondo Onoka. Hondo Onoka I've seen in Star Wars, The Clone Wars, and at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Don't know what Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is. And I think that's it. Okay. Let's see what it says. Galaxy's Edge, but you can actually see Hondo in person at the 2 Disney Park Star Wars Galaxy's Edge themed lands. So you can see him actually in person. So live action. Not just on TV, live action. So that's interesting. But yeah, this is a very long article. Yep. And I had saw somewhere else where the evil force user and his little, his little follower. I don't know what show they were from, but I saw someone had shown them in animation. So they either come from Rebels or the Clone Wars, but most likely Rebels. No, must be the Clone. I don't know, because I can't remember how far back. I have to go back to the timeline to see how far back it was, because the 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 girl was like a little girl, was the same age as like Ahsoka, probably. So she was a little girl like Ahsoka was in the animation. So her live action person is grown up. So they're also characters from the animated. They didn't make the article apparently. Um. Oh, was Andor the Forrest Forrest Whitaker? Okay, not Andor necessarily, but Forrest Whitaker's character from Rogue One. His character was animated, and what's his name? Guerrera. Saw Guerrera. He was animated, and he was in the Clone Wars, Star Wars, the Clone Wars. This or Star Wars Rebels. It's uh mm, but at this point, I feel like, I mean, I'm already watching Ahsoka. I'm already ankle deep. Why go back? Why go back? I mean, if you want to go back and watch the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, have at it, have fun. I don't think I'm going to do it. I don't think I'm going to do it though. I'm going to keep reading these articles that's going to keep filling me in on this extensive backstory, these years of backstory that started way back from because this goes all the way back to 2008. It's 2023. I don't have time to catch up. I do not have time to catch up. But okay. So Ahsoka. So the show starts off with Ahsoka in the with the space whales. They're in the space whales, and they're jumping. They're still traveling to wherever Sabine and the evil force users and the witches. And she admits to, the robot that she didn't tell the general that Sabine willingly went with them. She wasn't taken, she went, but she's trifling. So I just really can't stand Sabine. And that's one another reason why I don't want to go back and watch Star Wars Rebels, because it's like, now from what I've seen of the character now, I don't like her. So if I don't want to go back and watch this character that I don't like, a show that's going to revolve around her, I don't like her. So so it goes there, and then it jumps to the ship where Sabine is, and she talking to the evil force user. I always forget his name, but we're just gonna call him the evil force user. And and she she kept going on, we had a deal, we had a deal. And I'm like, he's evil. Why are you relying on him to hold up his end of the deal? He got you in, he got what he wanted, and he got you in handcuffs. Why? What motivation does he have to hold up his end of the deal? There is absolutely none. You are an idiot. Anyway, so they arrive on the little planet, and there's these little witches there, and they say to them, oh, Sabine reeks of Jedi, even though she has no Jedi talents, but she reeks of Jedi. So they take her and put her away in her own little jail cell until Grand Admiral Thrawn arrives. He arrives in a ship with his own little clone army. I don't understand why, if he's arriving in the ship, why couldn't he get off the planet by himself? Why did he need them to come get him? Why was he stranded? I don't understand this. Yeah, a lot in this episode got me sideways. Well, not ghosts necessarily. I guess they was just looking raggedy because they've been stranded for however many years. They've been stranded there since Star Wars Rebels. So however many years that's been. Yeah. So they've been stranded for some years. So they looking kind of rough. But, one of them got a gold face. What's up with that? I so but I guess this is I guess the gold face was probably explained in Star Wars Rebels. So I'm not gonna go back and watch. But I don't understand why that ship that brought them to the witches couldn't take them off the planet. I don't understand. But whatever. The little ship brought them to the witches, and they're like, it's gonna take us 3 rotations to get you off this planet. Because we don't have a ship big enough to take y'all off right now. So, and then the witches tell them, oh, somebody else is coming. And he's like, it's probably Ahsoka, even though she's supposed to be dead. He's right. It's Ahsoka. Although he gave, he and the evil force user held up their end of the deal. They gave Sabine a howler or whatever you call that thing to ride out into the wilderness to go find Ezra. And he's like, Ezra's probably dead. And even if he ain't dead, once our ship leaves, you're going to be stranded here. So good luck. You idiot. It's like you go with him, and what did you expect? What did you expect was going to happen? You was going to get Ezra and they going to bring you back? With your dumb ass, you dummy. Oh my gosh, you were an idiot. But anyway, so she finds Ezra. Ezra's happy to see her because he's like, oh, I'm so glad you came to get me. I can't wait to go home. But she didn't tell him how she found him, that She fucked up. That she's the reason Grant, like his sacrifice is going to be for nothing because Grand Admiral Thrawn is about to come back to power. Grand Admiral Thrawn's about to get off the planet, and they're not, because they have no way off the planet. The Grand Admiral Thrawn got a ride. Y'all ain't got one. Of course, Ahsoka's on the way, but she don't know that. She thinks Ahsoka's dead. Ugh. So, yeah. So, and that's how the show ends, with her not telling, with her finding Ezra and not telling him all the truth. But so when I saw the beginning of the whole, when they did the whole, what do you call it? The previously on, what they do, the previously, and I was like, why couldn't the Hera and her little ragtag team come with Ahsoka, because she gonna need backup. They could have gotten into the space whale's mouths with her, but no, Ahsoka's gonna have to face Thrawn by herself, face the evil Force users by herself, face all these little raggedy clone soldiers by herself, and deal with Sabine. First thing I would do the moment I see Sabine is smack the taste out of her mouth. I would. I smack the taste out of her mouth. Like, Heifer, did not tell you to destroy the map. Um, Thrawn, Thrawn is Grand Admiral Thrawn is he's a badass. He, in all the media that they've ever put him in, he is a threat. He is a huge, huge threat. Mm, exactly. She sacrificed everything to find him, and now she's stranded with him. So what did your sacrifice do? You found him, and now you stranded with him. You sacrificed to get to him. You stranded with him. Now how you gonna get home? He couldn't figure out how to get home. How you gonna figure out how to get home? You're not. Girl. But yeah, Grand Admiral Thrawn is he's like he's almost like what do you call those people that you that you get to at the end of a video game? What they call those? Ooh, what they call those people? Um, mm, I don't think Balin is gonna switch sides because of the power he can feel. I think he's gonna switch sides because they send stormtroopers after him to kill him. So he's definitely gonna switch sides because of that. There's, he's switching sides because they're gonna try to kill him. So that's gonna be his main reason for no longer being on their side. Um, Talking about the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Like those bandits. What is teaming up with those bandits gonna do? Even if they help you find Sabine and Ezra, are they gonna help you fight these stormtroopers who's coming to beat you up? Nope. Them stormtroopers gonna take all them bandits out, and then where you gonna be? But what is it? What was I saying? Grand Admiral Thrawn is like the thing you get at the end of a video game. I think they call him the big boss. That's what he's like. Because they've been dealing with this evil force user all this time. And then now you have Grand Admiral Thrawn. And you thought the evil force user was something. But Grand Admiral Thrawn is it's like you feel the despair in him getting off this planet. It's just this was just the biggest mistake Sabine could have ever made. And she really needs to suffer for the mistake she made. She needs to feel the consequences of her mistake. She needs to suffer the consequences of her mistake. She needs to. Mm, just for this episode, I would say just this one episode they follow, but they've been doing that. Lord, they've been doing that these past few episodes where they've been concentrating rather than going back and forth between different storylines. They will concentrate on one single storyline. So instead of going back and forth between her and Ahsoka, or like last week, instead of going back and forth between Ahsoka and Sabine, because you didn't see Sabine last week. So you didn't see Sabine last week. You didn't see Ahsoka this week. So that's the trade-off. So Ahsoka's going to be in the same place next week. She's going to arrive. And they're finally going to be in the same location. So we'll go back to seeing them both. Of course, Ahsoka's going to have to find them. But we should see them both in the same episode. So that's going to be next week. Next week is Ahsoka arriving, Ahsoka having to find Sabine and Ezra. I don't know what. So that's going to be episode 7. I don't know what episode 8 is going to be about. Because there's just no possible way she can stop Grand Admiral Thrawn by herself. And there are no reinforcements coming to help her. So he's getting off that planet. He's getting off that planet. He's getting off that planet. It's a shame. Character wise, I like Ahsoka. Can't stand Sabine. Don't like her. She's trash. She is total trash. Thrawn, Thrawn is going to leave. Thrawn is leaving because he's Grand Admiral Thrawn. I don't think they could stop him. They tried to kill him before and he's not dead. They can't stop him. The only way to stop him is to destroy the ship that will carry him away and make sure no one else finds where he is to leave him stranded, basically to leave him stranded again. That's the only way. That's the only way to stop Thrawn. Destroy the ship, strand the witches, strand Thrawn, strand the evil force using his little Padawan, you know, strand them all on that little planet. I don't see that happening. I don't see Ahsoka, Ezra, and Sabine being able to do that by themselves. Well, everything I know about him is from the canon that got wiped out. So I don't know if they kept, if when they brought him back, they kept those same facts or if they wrote a new backstory for him. Again, I didn't read this book. I need to read this book, and I haven't watched Star Wars Rebels. But I know this book is canon, so I can. I need to. I need to read this book. No, Andor is. Goodness gracious, where is my? Here, let me look. Let me look. Andor. Rogue One. Andor is before all of this. Andor is before all of this because Andor happens before A New Hope. Andor happens before A New Hope. All of this happens after Return of the Jedi. So Star Wars Rebels. So Star Wars Rebels happens right before Andor. So Star Wars Rebels is probably when he was when he was stranded. So he's been stranded since before the events of the original trilogy. And they are picking up just a few years. They are a few years beyond Return of the Jedi. Okay, I'm thinking this is Mandalorian season 3. I'm thinking this is happening. Um, this is right around the same time. So Mandalorian season 3 either happened before this or at the same time as this. The generals were saying there was whispers of Thrawn, but he hadn't come back yet. They didn't know where he was. Somebody was talking about they um I don't think he was back yet. So I do remember that, and I think they were still just talking about the return of Grand Admiral Thrawn. So they were just talking about the whispers of his return, but it hadn't happened yet. So Mandalorian season 3 probably happened before this, or the same time as this. It could have been the same time as this. It's either the same time as this or before this. It would be a nice crossover. Yes, he wasn't back. He wasn't back. If he was back, they would have had a definite location, and it would have been a more concrete conversation. This was just, rumors. This was just rumors and whispers and things. So they were talking about, so this was people, they were talking about Thrawn could come back. She went out and just got him. While everybody was saying, "Oh, we can go. Wouldn't it be great if Thrawn came back?" She was like, "Bet I'm gonna go get him," and got him. So that's the difference between some people. Some people are talkers. Some people are doers. She's obviously a doer. They were just talkers. They were just talkers. So, yeah, I just don't see how they can stop him. I don't see how they can stop him. Um, I can see how they can possibly slow it down because it's going to take 3 rotations to take him out of there. Maybe they can call in backup in the meanwhile, blah, 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 blah. Send in coordinates. Maybe they can get in backup and maybe people can come and help them out. There's a whole lot of maybes. If we're a fifth, we'd all be drunk. So a lot could happen in episode 8. I just don't see them succeeding. Mainly because I see the writers wanting him to come back to power. And he's Grand Admiral Thrawn. They can't cut him down. They can't bring him back and cut him down 2 episodes later. He's going to survive. He's a little too tough to just be cut down 2 episodes later. I hope Sabine, because I can't stand her. She needs to die. She needs to suffer the consequences of her actions. She needs to. But for real, the evil force user, because I know he died after the season was finished, but he's dead. So I think, and I don't know, his character can't come back. I really truly believe his character might die. Right. How else would they let the plot advance if they didn't have her doing stupid stuff? Oh, you didn't know that? Yes. Right. Right after, it was while the show was um in post. Like they had finished shooting the show. It was before the show came out. He died. The guy who played the evil force user died in real life. So he's dead. The very first episode, when they at the end, when they said for our friend Ray, that was a dedication to him because he died. Yeah. So yeah. So he can't come back. Whether he survived this season or not, he's gonna have to die. He'll have to die off screen. If he didn't die on screen in episode 8, he'll have to die off screen. So he ain't survived in season 1. Nah, it was for him. It was for him. Yeah. Yeah. I remember when he, because it was all over social media, Twitter, and everybody was really upset when he died. Um yeah. I don't know everything. But I saw it on Twitter. I saw it on Twitter when it happened. And a lot of people were upset. And I saw that he had just finished filming Ahsoka. So, all right. So next week is episode 7. Most likely Ahsoka and Grand Admiral Thrawn will come face to face. We'll see what happens with that. Um, yeah. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to expect in these last 2 episodes. I don't know what to expect. So I'm just gonna just sit there and anticipate. I'm just gonna watch. I don't know what's gonna happen. Okay. So Friday this video is gonna be like a top 5 type video. Um and I'll be back on Monday. So, uh, do. I don't know. Um, I didn't get a chance to check out One Piece this past weekend. I was since I did that live stream and then I watched the Little Mermaid. So maybe I'll look into One Piece. Maybe I'll look into some other things. We'll see. We'll see if I get a chance to check out One Piece. We'll see. Oh, you saw Hunting in Venice? She went and she saw it, I think Sunday. I think Sunday was the day of the live stream. So yeah, I think she went to go see it that Sunday. I haven't seen it yet, so I want to go see it next weekend. I want to go see it next weekend. I still have to see it and Equalizer. So I am behind on my movies. I am frightfully behind. I got sick and got frightfully behind on my movies. So, but yeah. But all right. So, yes. So I will see you next Monday. But in the meantime, thanks for watching.